In a quiet corner of the tropical forest where humid mists envelop the trees, hiding them from curious eyes, scientists managed to discover something incredible, a butterfly that seems to defy the usual laws of nature. At first glance, this butterfly appears ordinary, but it turned out to be not just a new species but also the first creature in history with poisonous wings. News of this quickly spread throughout the scientific world, sparking a storm of emotions and countless questions. How is it possible that a butterfly, a symbol of fragility and beauty, could turn out to be dangerous? Samples of this astonishing creature were collected and brought to the laboratory for thorough study. Researchers took note of the butterfly's bright, iridescent wing colors, which, as it turned out, not only attract visually but also release toxic substances. This fact shocked the scientists. The possibility that such a complex self-defense mechanism could exist in butterflies seemed incredible. But like many other mysteries of nature, this discovery became further proof that in biology anything is possible. Experts began to study the area where the butterfly was found, aiming to understand what conditions could have led to such an unexpected evolution. The forest seemed peaceful, but perhaps it was here that secrets were hidden, waiting to be uncovered. Were these butterflies part of some previously unknown food chain where they had to defend themselves from predators? Or was it a sudden mutation caused by changes in the ecosystem? Answers to these questions could shed light on the true reasons behind the appearance of poisonous wings. This discovery made scientists reconsider their views on evolutionary processes and wonder how exactly such butterflies might change our understanding of nature. Perhaps the answer lies deeper than it seems at first glance. And the next thing we need to find out is how poisonous wings affect the planet's biodiversity. Poisonous wings, evolution or anomaly? The study of butterflies' poisonous wings opens up a whole universe of mysteries. Researchers, at the forefront of this discovery, begin with the main question: is the emergence of toxicity a result of evolution or an anomaly? Initial hypotheses link this phenomenon to an evolutionary mechanism. In nature, we see many examples of animals developing defensive mechanisms. Bright colors and patterns signal danger and deter predators. But a butterfly with poisonous wings is something unique. The initial analysis showed that the toxin secreted by the wings is similar to those found in certain poisonous plants. This suggests that the butterfly may have evolved in such a way as to use the poison from the plants it inhabits as its own weapon. However, it remains unclear exactly what process led to the development of such a survival strategy. Were the conditions in their environment so dangerous that only poisonous wings could give them a chance to survive? On the other hand, there is a theory that these changes are not the result of long evolutionary processes, but rather an abnormal mutation caused by changes in the environment. In today's world, where human impact on nature is becoming increasingly evident, such a mutation could have been triggered by pollution or other anthropogenic factors. This raises a dramatic question. If such mutations are occurring in nature, what other surprises might await us in the future? Thus, the dilemma of evolution or anomaly remains unresolved. To solve it, scientists will have to delve into genetic analyses and compare them with other known cases of adaptation in the animal world. What will we discover, and what new findings will this path lead us to? Soon we will try to look even deeper. Under the microscope, we will examine what secrets are hidden in the patterns on the wings of these amazing butterflies. Experts are in shock. How can poison change biodiversity? The news about a butterfly with poisonous wings has become a real shock for the scientific community. Biodiversity experts were shocked as they tried to comprehend how this discovery could affect existing ecosystems. Toxicity, so uncharacteristic for these insects, could signal the beginning of new evolutionary scenarios. Scientists are studying how this unique self-defense mechanism might change the dynamics of interspecies relationships. The poisonous butterfly may force a reconsideration of the role of predators in the ecosystem. Birds and other insects that previously fed on butterflies may start to avoid them, which will lead to changes in the food chain. The possibility of this phenomenon spreading widely has seriously concerned biologists. If butterflies begin to spread beyond their natural habitat, this could pose new threats to other species that are not prepared to encounter new toxins. The impact on biodiversity could be twofold. On one hand, butterflies may reduce the number of predators, but on the other, they could become a more dominant species in their range. This discovery has raised many questions among scientists about how adaptive changes in one species can trigger a chain reaction in the ecosystem, how far such changes can go, and what significance this might have for biodiversity as a whole. It is difficult to predict all the consequences, but one thing is clear: the butterfly with poisonous wings has already broken the usual rules. Now we are faced with the task of understanding the nature of this phenomenon and assessing its long-term consequences for the ecosystem. Will something similar await us in other corners of the planet? The answers to these questions are yet to be found in further research. Under the microscope, what is hidden in the patterns of the wings? Studying the patterns on the wings of the poisonous butterfly under a microscope revealed to scientists a new world, hidden from the human eye. At first glance, the patterns on the wings seem standard, but under magnification, unusual microstructures became visible. Complex geometric shapes, covered with the tiniest scales, precisely replicate natural symbols that, as it turns out, play an important role in the butterfly's defensive strategy. These patterns are not just beautiful. They, as it turns out, are part of a complex chemical process that enables the release of toxin. Each scale acts as a tiny reservoir, storing poison that, under certain conditions, is activated and released to the outside, turning the wings into a kind of self-defense weapon. Amazingly, the toxin actively affects not only predators but also microscopic parasites that could harm the butterfly. Analyses have shown that the poison contains components previously found in poisonous plants, which confirm the hypothesis about the possibility of borrowing chemicals from the environment. Scientists suggest that the butterfly has learned to collect and use these substances in its natural habitat, transforming them into its own defense mechanism. The fine-tuning of these processes indicates a high level of adaptation and inspires admiration. However, the discovered facts raise many new questions. How does the butterfly control the release of its poison, and why doesn't this mechanism activate accidentally when it's not needed? It is possible that these insects have a complex signaling system that determines the moment of activation, and this is where technology can come to the aid of researchers. Comparing the genetic material of the butterfly with that of other related species could clarify which mutations led to such an unusual development. These studies are only just beginning to unfold, and each new discovery leads to the realization of how little we know about the microscopic world around us. Amidst all these mysteries, scientists are left wondering how many more amazing creatures are hidden in nature, still waiting to be discovered. Natural chimeras. When does nature create a threat? When nature itself becomes a threat, questions arise about the role of natural chimeras, such as this butterfly with poisonous wings. Such creatures, skillfully combining elements of different species, appear as if evolution itself decided to conduct an experiment. These chimeras often serve as a reminder of how unpredictable the consequences of a changing environment can be. For centuries, chimeras have appeared in myths and legends, but now they are taking real form as adaptive animals capable of causing chaos in the world around them. The poisonous butterfly is not just an evolutionary curiosity, it is a potential threat to its natural predators. Outbursts of aggression among birds, caused by their inability to distinguish between safe and dangerous butterflies, can lead to the destruction of established food chains, affecting the entire ecosystem. Undoubtedly, the emergence of creatures like this butterfly makes scientists reconsider the phenomenon of natural chimeras. How will the ecosystem evolve in response to this new dangerous creature? Perhaps we are witnessing the beginning of a new phase of evolution where nature slightly loses control and introduces an element of unpredictability into the life of the planet. How will other species react to this, and how will their behavior change? All we can do is observe. Now, scientists have to answer two critical questions. How widely can such chimeras spread, and how can we prepare the ecosystem for changing conditions? The tasks ahead are not easy, but for our understanding of nature, this discovery is yet another reminder of its boundless creativity. Hidden mechanisms. How does the butterfly protect itself from enemies? Delving deeper into the study of this phenomenal butterfly, scientists have begun to uncover the mechanisms it uses to defend itself from predators. The poisonous wings are not just intimidating, they serve as an active means of defense. When observing the butterfly's behavior in their natural habitat, it was noted that at the slightest threat they begin to tremble their wings, releasing toxins into the surrounding environment. This strategy allows the butterfly to create a protective cloud, which is effective even against larger predators. The toxin released into the air causes most birds to experience discomfort, driving them away from the source of danger. Studies have shown that small amphibians, such as lizards, also try to avoid these butterflies since contact with the toxin can be fatal. Despite its high level of toxicity, the butterfly uses it sparingly, resorting to it only in moments of real threat. This finely tuned mechanism points to a complex evolutionary process that has enabled the butterfly to survive in a hostile environment. Another interesting aspect is the butterfly's ability to self-repair. It has been found that when their wings are damaged, they regenerate quickly while retaining their poisonous properties. This gives the butterfly an incredible advantage in the struggle for survival, allowing it to remain a dangerous opponent even after attacks. This example of adaptation highlights how meticulously nature can design its creations to ensure their safety. Researchers now face the challenge of understanding how far this adaptation can go and what other secrets the butterfly may hold. Perhaps the next step is to find out how such poisonous mechanisms can affect other species and how resilient they will prove to be in a changing world. Evolution in action. Lessons from the poisonous butterfly. The evolutionary development of the butterfly with poisonous wings offers important lessons for understanding nature and adaptation. The first thing researchers notice is the exceptional alignment between environmental conditions and survival strategies. The mechanism of toxicity did not arise spontaneously. It is the result of millennia of adaptation to a constantly changing world. This demonstrates how even the smallest changes in an ecosystem can trigger remarkable transformations in the behavior and physiology of species. The butterfly has demonstrated a unique ability to form a symbiotic relationship with its environment, extracting toxic components from plants and transforming them into weapons against its enemies. This reminds us of the key role that interactions between species play in shaping their evolutionary paths. Moreover, this species of butterfly illustrates how extreme conditions and potential risks can stimulate incredible biological innovations. Poisonous wings, which not only deter predators but also provide a survival advantage, confirm that evolution is always seeking ways to increase the chances of survival. Another aspect worth noting is the speed of adaptation. The butterfly, with its ability for rapid regeneration and wing restoration, demonstrates that nature is capable of swift changes. This flexible response to threats can be crucial under increasing environmental pressure. Evolution in action reminds us of how complex and multifaceted life strategies can be, shaped over many generations. The phenomenon of the poisonous butterfly raises new questions for scientists about the inner structure of evolution and what lessons can be learned for understanding the future. Each discovery in this field opens a new page in the book of nature, showing that evolution is a continuous process in which every species strives for perfection. By observing this butterfly, we gain the opportunity to rethink the boundaries of survival and adaptation, exploring what other secrets nature may hold. Consequences in the ecosystem, threats and salvations. The discovery of the poisonous butterfly has significantly changed the dynamics of the ecosystem in which it lives. This new element introduces serious adjustments to the established food chains and interspecies relationships. The emergence of toxins secreted by the butterfly's wings has forced some predators to reconsider their eating habits. Birds and other small animals susceptible to the poison begin to avoid these butterflies, which in turn changes their behavior and migration patterns. The number of these predators may decrease, which in turn will affect the populations of other insects and plants that serve as their main food source. The expansion of the population of butterflies with poisonous wings may lead to this species dominating its ecosystem. They may become a key player in their habitat, putting pressure on other species and altering their numbers. Such changes can cause significant shifts in the region's biodiversity. On the other hand, the butterflies themselves may become vulnerable if their numbers exceed the ecosystem's capacity to support their population. However, not all consequences are so negative. A poisonous butterfly stimulates the emergence of new adaptations in predators. These changes can help increase the overall resilience of the ecosystem. For example, some birds might develop strategies to recognize and avoid dangerous butterflies or even develop immunity to their toxins. Such evolutionary leaps not only ensure the survival of species but also contribute to the increase in the diversity of defensive mechanisms in nature. Understanding these processes is important for biologists who study the consequences of climate change and human impact on nature. If butterflies are able to spread to other habitats, their impact on the ecosystem will become even more significant. The survival of species capable of using toxic substances to their advantage proves just how dynamic and flexible ecological systems are. Potential danger. Can humans use the poison? After studying the poisonous wings, scientists began to consider the potential danger this poison could pose to humans. Interest in natural toxins has long been a relevant topic for researchers. Animal venoms are already widely used in medicine to create drugs and treat diseases, but the presence of toxins in a butterfly is of particular interest. Experts began to analyze the possibility of extracting the poison to study its properties and potential applications in pharmacology. Initial tests showed that the butterfly's toxin is different from previously known poisons, so its effects on the human body have not yet been studied. Researchers are working to isolate and study its components, comparing them with other known natural poisons. They are interested in whether this poison could become the basis for new medical drugs, for example, to fight infections or as a painkiller. However, as always, there is another side to the coin. The possibility of using such a toxin for negative purposes is a cause for concern. History knows cases when natural poisons were used as weapons. The emergence of a new, powerful toxin may attract the attention of those who would want to use it to create biological weapons. This makes it necessary to carefully control research and its results. Despite all the risks, scientists continue their experiments, hoping that the unique properties of the poisonous butterfly may lead to new discoveries in medicine. But they also emphasize the importance of caution when handling such substances. The discovery of the poisonous butterfly is only the beginning of a long journey, which may lead either to important medical breakthroughs or to new security challenges. How our lives will change thanks to this substance will become clear in the near future as research into this amazing natural phenomenon deepens. The future of insects, a new stage of evolution, or a temporary mutation. Astonishing discoveries in the natural world, such as the butterfly with poisonous wings, are making scientists seriously consider the future of insects. This unique species offers us a glimpse into possible evolutionary pathways. The question is whether it is a harbinger of a new stage of evolution or a temporary mutation caused by changes in the environment. By studying such organisms, researchers are trying to determine how these butterflies developed poisonous wings and what their chances are for long-term survival in natural conditions. It has been observed that butterflies are able to adapt to various changes in the ecosystem, which may indicate this species' capacity for rapidly evolving adaptation. Scientists continue to study genetic data to determine which mutations led to the emergence of this toxicity. These discoveries also raise questions about possible consequences for other insect species. If similar mutations begin to appear in other species, this could significantly alter the ecosystems in which they live. Artificial acceleration of evolution caused by a number of external factors may lead to the emergence of new, previously unimaginable forms of life. At present, research is ongoing. Scientists are studying the impact of this phenomenal species on the environment and are trying to understand how its existence will affect biodiversity in the long term. They are also paying attention to how such changes might influence human activity. The discovery of this butterfly is becoming an important link in the chain of scientific understanding of the role of insects in ecosystems and reveals potentially new directions for research in the fields of evolution and adaptation.